Imagine if everything you believed about reality, about randomness, and about science itself was wrong. What if I told you that something as simple as watching an experiment could change its outcome? What if reality as we know it isn't just something that happens to us, but something that we actively shape? Hi, I'm Chief Messenger. Let's talk. Randomness. Does it truly exist? An ancient question that likely drove previous civilizations mad trying to answer it. If something is truly random, then can it be observed? It would have to depend on math, chemistry, and physics for it to exist within our realm. So, it must be measurable. How could it be random? Okay, but we can't predict everything, right? I mean, coin flips, for example. Imagine coin flips being able to be predicted. It really is the epitome of randomness. But what if I told you that one man built a machine that could do just that? Enter Percy Diaconus, a mathematician and former magician whose obsession with understanding randomness led him to create a machine that could predict the outcome of a coin flip with stunning accuracy. How is this possible? How could something so inherently unpredictable be reduced to mere calculation? If you knew the force of the flip, if you knew how high in the air you were flipping it and where your other hand was going to catch that coin, and if you knew the air conditions such as air pressure, among other things, you would be able to predict the outcome of any given coin flip. Okay, and the implications of just this one thing being able to predict coin flips isn't that big. But is there anything else that we inherently take as being random that isn't so random? We do live in a modern age with such advanced technology that us humans made, we should be able to make something that's truly random. Think of the numbers that flash across a screen in a random number generator, supposedly unpredictable. It's used from everything such as encryption to gaming. Well, what if I told you that even these so-called random number generators really aren't random at all? Number generators, especially the ones that we use in computers, are not generating numbers out of thin air. Instead, they rely on what's called pseudo-random processes. Random number generators can be calculated, and they can be predicted, because they are relying on something that we can calculate using math. Even the one that's on random.org is using atmospheric noise generation in order to determine what number it tells you. However, atmospheric noise is not random. They are not able to create a complex algorithm to spit a number out at you that is completely and totally random. Think about that. So if everything is calculable, well, what does that mean for our free will, our destiny, and our fate? If we are just a chemical concoction walking around where everything in our brain could be determined if we knew all of the different circumstances, then does that mean we don't have free will? Is there anything that is actually random that we can't calculate? I would say no. But there is an experiment called the double slit experiment that does the exact opposite. The double slit experiment done in a lab over 100 years ago might just be the key to unlocking the mysteries of the universe and the existence of God. The double slit experiment sure isn't random because this extremely puzzling result proves that consciousness has an effect on physical outcomes of things that aren't being affected by anything other than our observation. Let me tell you about one of the most mind-bending experiments in all of science. The double slit experiment. It sounds simple, but it caused scientists to question everything they thought they knew about reality. Here's how it works. Imagine you have a wall with two tiny slits in it, and you're going to shoot particles, like tiny bits of light called photons, at that wall. You'd expect these particles to either go through one slit or the other, right? Simple enough. But what actually happens is much more strange. When no one is watching, these particles don't just go through one slit or the other. They act like waves and go through both slits at the same time, creating a pattern on the wall behind that's full of light and dark strips, almost like ripples in a pond. But here's where it gets weird. The moment someone decides to observe which slit the particle goes through, it stops behaving like a wave and just goes through one slit, like you'd expect. It's as if the particles know it's being watched, and they change their behavior. Now, of course, this raises huge questions. If just watching something can change how it acts, what does that say about a reality? Is reality itself somehow connected to our consciousness? And if it is, could that mean there's more going on behind the scenes than we realize? Maybe something divine, something beyond the reach of science. The double slit experiment proves that our consciousness shapes the reality around us. And so I want to react to something right now, an experiment that IKEA did. In 2018, IKEA conducted a social experiment where they placed two identical plants in a school and exposed them to different types of verbal feedback for 30 days. One plant was bullied with negative words, while the other was showered with positive affirmations. The results were astonishing. Despite receiving the same amount of light, water, and nutrients, the bullied plant withered, with the praised plant thriving. Just like the double slit experiment, it shows how our observation, our consciousness, and our actions alter reality on a quantum level. The IKEA experiment hints that our words and intentions might have a deeper impact on the world around us than we realize. Could it be that our consciousness and even the energy we project have a measurable effect on life itself? Okay, observing a particle and talking to a plant affects the outcome. I think there's something much more profound in our reality. And I want to tell you all that this notion, this understanding that our consciousness and the way that we interact with our reality can actually change our reality is so real to me firsthand because I've experienced it. Prayer has worked in my life, and the Bible has completely changed my life. When I asked Jesus to come into my life, he completely changed my life. I gave up my previous life to live the life I have now. And I make these videos really to just inspire and spark a light inside of you that you might see that there's more to this reality than we first thought. Now, all I can do is plant a seed or water the seed. However, God will do that increase. I pray that you think upon the things that we've talked about, because there's been times in my life where I was at my wit's end. I was at rock bottom, and I didn't believe in God at one point in my life. And so I called out to God, cried out to God, that he might see me, hear me, and lead me through the darkest valley. He had the Holy Spirit, the strength and power to rise again from the dead. And with that same spirit we can overcome anyone in the world, because he who is inside of us is much greater than he who is in the world. How I've gone from nothing to where I am now is a proof that God is real. I prayed to God to guide me and to lead me out of the darkest challenges. And so if you are going through some dark, challenging, rough times, I can assure you that there's an almighty creator, that if you trust him and put your faith in his son, and that you pray that he will guide you out of that situation, you will see God is real. I used to think that everything had an easily explainable answer. Ghosts, supernatural experiences, God himself. I said everything was explainable. Come on, guys. Didn't you go to school and see that evolution is real? We gotta stop believing in these age-old myths about there being a creator. But I want to tell you that a creator is most definitely real. As it says in Jeremiah 33:3, "Call to me, and I will answer you. I will tell you great and hidden things that you have not known." I had no idea what was true, but I called out to God, and I laid my own will down, and I said, God, I want your will to be done. Show me the truth, even if it goes against everything I've previously thought. And that is when God manifested himself in my life. Thank you for watching.